My name is David Ratzlaff, a resident of Golden, BC. We're here on my Marge barge, which is a floating cabin on a log barge sitting in the Bush Harbor, which is part of the Kinbasket Reservoir.
This video is sponsored by Ecoflow. Ecoflow has a Prime Day sale where you can get up to $850 off your favorite Ecoflow products. Click the link in the description and head over and get an Ecoflow Delta today. And remember to subscribe.
The story of the Marge barge, as told by David Ratzlaff, whose wife is Margaret Ruth Ratzlaff. So the Marge came from the Margaret. Approximately 15 years ago now, we were invited to be part of a society that was on the Causeway, which is an island to my right. I just brought my camper out there. I built a little toilet up there. And I'm a builder, a general contractor. I've probably been building for 30 years. Mostly timber homes, mostly resort homes, secondary homes for people. So you end up always having leftover materials, leftover windows, doors, you name it. So I said to myself, why not build a cabin? I was always concerned that I would have to move that cabin. So I built it right away with the ability that it could be picked up and moved. But we were there probably about 5 years, and all of a sudden there's a moratorium on people using Crown land. And so we had to get off. I said to myself, well, what am I gonna do? I got this beautiful cabin. Well, I'm gonna float it. So I did that. I knew that if I would actually put this thing on a log barge, then my feeling was I was gonna float. I knew, I said we're gonna have 18 inches to 2 feet of freeboard. And sure enough, that's exactly what I had. Of course, everybody doubted me. I had to get it built and on the barge before the water hit the barge. It took me 2 weeks longer than I thought to get it built and moved on there. But the main thing was it gonna float off the land? So here's where we built the level spot. Oh yeah, here's some of the old anchors here, right here. There's 4 concrete blocks here, so that I wouldn't, if the water came up and I wasn't here, I wouldn't take off. But this is where I built the log barge, and then just hoped for the water to come up. Sure enough, then I just floated away. I simply registered it as a vessel. They asked me what color it is, brown. What's it made of? Wood. Everybody's allowed a buoy. So I tied my vessel to the buoy, and I've never been bothered since. There's 9 logs that make up this barge. It's 56-foot long logs, all spruce. Took 2 truckloads. These logs were so big. They're oversized logs, so they don't really have much use for them, so they weren't that expensive. They're staggered, so one end will be a butt, and then we keep flipping them so you'll end up sort of equal logs. But we tried to get the biggest butts at this end here because most of the weight of the cabin sits at the back of the Marge barge. And then on top of the logs are 6x6s at about 4 foot on center. You can see these screw holes here. And then we put a treated 2x10 on top of that. So that's the deck. And then on top of that, we put the putting green. Typically, we tie up to buoys and that sort of thing. And then we usually end up tying up beside the barge here. We've got these old tires here that give us some protection from our boats. But as you can see, we're tucked inside the Bush Harbor here, which gives us some real protection from the wind. Basically, you're straight north right to the Valemont. So we can get some winds happening here that we can get 6-foot waves in here. So this is quite a protected bay. I've got solar panels on both sides, just whatever I can buy cheap. Because as you can see, we're on the water, so the wind affects us which direction we are at. We use a lot of propane. So I have 3 100-pound tanks here. That will last half the season, 3 tanks. We're off grid, but we need energy, you know. Sun doesn't do it all. And we get them on and off with the boats. So this is where we have our water tanks and the batteries. So those are just golf cart batteries. The issue is always how do you keep them up in winter, because we get -20, -30 out here. I try to run the solar panels all winter, so it has a trickle charge in them. But they'll probably only last 4 or 5 years at the most, but they destroyed. Right now we use lake water in this tank here. If we swim in it, we figure we can use it for showers, washing dishes and that sort of thing. But as you can see, the water's not that clear right now. It definitely clears up more. I wouldn't want to, you could drink it, but you know, it's not the best. We do have a creek about another 5 kilometers up that we actually get incredible water out of. And we have a tank that we go there and fill that up and bring it back here. And that's where we get our drinking water from. Otherwise, we bring it from town. Around here is an air compressor for all the toys that we have here. So this is what we use right off the generator. It probably wouldn't work off of the batteries. Batteries work well for lights. We can even do, we can get, first coffee in the morning, but usually to really run things, we need the generator. Someday we'll have big enough solar panels that we can run everything, but right now it's still not quite adequate. This is all the toys that we have here. One of them is just all the tools that we'll need out here. We try to keep as many tools and extra things, but you never know what you need out here. There's a diving board there that the grandkids love to play on. My sons will dive off it, but I've given up on that sort of thing. And then we found this in Kamloops, bought that and brought that out here. So we hook up a hose to here and the water runs and the kids play on here. A little bit cold right now, but to make it really work well is we've got the hot tub. And that we built 2 years ago and brought it out here. It's actually insulated, just a regular cattle tank for water. Off the propane, we have an instant hot water heater. So when we want to heat this thing, I just reverse it right out of the lake. There's a pump. It goes in cold and comes out hot. So I turn both these taps on and turn the one off inside. And that hose there feeds the hot tub. So this is our pride and joy. It actually came from my parents. It's a Godine stove, burns wood. It can actually burn coal as well. Within 10 minutes, it's warm in here. Because in winter we come out here, it can easily be minus 20 out here. And so this is a must. We do have a propane burner here, and it would take forever to warm up. But this is an amazing piece of equipment. Most of our projects we use a spray foam insulation, and in this house I had my crew that does all our projects came out here, gave us a great deal. We spray foamed the floor, we spray foamed the walls, and the roof as well. That was a blow down insulation system. And there's no drywall on here. Everything's plywood. Just use white paint and water and make a whitewash, so you still see some grain. And every 10 years or so, we'll put another coat on it that we'll have to. So all these timbers were cut locally in Golden. A couple little mills that we have in town that did all the timbers. I just told them the sizes I need, and this TV flips down, and so the evenings we can actually watch movies out here. And we might be off the grid, but we want to have fun out here too. Some of the technical things inside, this is a propane fridge. Having a little bit of trouble with it right now, but it's getting about 10 years old now, so I think it's going to be time where it's going to have to get replaced soon. And a little propane stove, we use that a lot. To run the microwave and all the other appliances we have, we pretty well have to run the generator. And then in the bathroom is our composting toilet. So this is Sunmar toilet. I got it from Home Hardware. There's the only company that carries it. After every use, you do it about 7 times. And then it mixes it up. It works well. Full shower made right on site, and it just drains into the lake. It runs through this instant hot water heater, and it actually vents outside. But as you can see the flame in there, so as soon as I turn on the hot water, it works amazingly well. So this is the Magaster inverter that we installed. It runs off batteries and off the generator. Somehow I got it figured out and brought an electrician out to do the wiring here. But we're definitely off the grid, but you still need lights, you need things to run. But this is an amazing piece of machinery. This is actually quite special to me. This is a piece of cedar from around Abbotsford area that my dad cut that I used. He had that in his greenhouse, so I used it for the stairs. So I pre-built this all in my shop. It's all fir and cedar, and this is where we actually store lots of stuff, and just a piece of art. That's what I think. Then you go upstairs. So this is our king-size bed that we have here. Bit of a headroom issue, but it's not where we spend all our time, but it works really well. A little bit of a deck right off of here. Sometimes we can get 3 to 4 feet of snow on this deck, so it has to be really tough. Well, the key is don't be afraid. You got to have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it, don't even attempt it. But it's just trial and error, a lot of the stuff, and just being practical on willing to learn anything. Like, I'm not really an electrician. I'm a carpenter, but we did a lot of inverters here and all that sort of stuff that we hooked up, and somehow it worked. But you got to be willing to make mistakes, do it again, and really helps to have sons around that are willing to help too, and argue with you about what's the right way or the wrong way to do it. I think that's my mantra for life is if you got to have a passion for it and you got to dream. And with that, you can get almost anything done. I mean, that's how I deal with my projects that we build. We're building some of the most complicated projects in BC, and you can't have fear. Fear can't be part of the equation. There's always a way around it. You know, that's sort of come from life experiences. You just got to keep going. So, you know, anyway, that's my theory in life.
Ecoflow creates eco-friendly power solutions that allow you to have power in any location, no matter how remote. Founded by leading creators in the drone industry, Ecoflow makes lightweight, portable power stations that can be used for home backup, outdoor adventures, and on-the-job needs. Ecoflow portable power stations are thoughtful in design and deliver smart and powerful energy storage products. And I've been using this Delta now for quite a while, and it is great. It helps me with everything. I use it as a power station for my laptop work setup, as well as it's great to be able to do some jobs on anchor by using the Ecoflow as a power source for either sanding or grinding or anything that you need. It's got up to 1800 watts of power output, and it is great. If you're in the market for any of these products, Ecoflow is running a huge promo for Prime Day as we speak. Some up to $900 off. That's 48% savings. Check out the link in the description below to find out more about Ecoflow's amazing line of products and details on their Prime Day promo.